You're watching the Mr. Quality Guy YouTube channel.
Hello everyone, Mr. Quality Guy here, and today we're going to do a video on the Takata Corporation, which is well known for the Takata airbag recall. But you may not know that there was a recall that they had beforehand. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Alright, so when it comes to recalls in recent history, it's very important to understand the story of Takata Corporation. And was this corporation evil and guilty of everything, or was there something else along the lines? So let's look at the beginning of the Takata Corporation. Takata was founded in 1933 in the Shiga Prefecture of Japan by Takezo Takata and started to produce lifelines for parachutes and other textiles. In the early 1950s, the company started to research seatbelts. Later, they incorporated as Takata in the 1960s. Takata started to sell seatbelts and built Japan's first crash test plant for testing seatbelts under real-world conditions. In the 1970s, Takata developed child restraint systems. In the 80s, the company changed its name to Takata Corporation and expanded internationally to Korea, the United States, and later to England to sell seatbelts. In 2000, Takata Corporation acquired Germany competitor Petri AG, forming the European subsidiary Takata Petri, renamed Takata AG in early 2012. AG makes steering wheels and plastic parts not only for the automotive industry. So Takata had started out as a safety company, uh, making seatbelts and all that. But let's take a look at their first issue. In May 1995, a recall in the U.S. affecting 8,428,402 predominantly Japanese-built vehicles made from 1986 to 1991, with seatbelts manufactured by the Takata Corporation of Japan, was begun. It was called, at the time, the second largest recall in the 30-year history of the Department of Transportation. The recall was prompted by an investigation, PE 94-052, carried out by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. On Takata-equipped Honda vehicles, after many of their owners complained of seatbelt buckles either failing to latch, latching and releasing automatically, or releasing in accidents, it was revealed that potentially faulty Takata seatbelts were not limited to only Honda vehicles, but to other Japanese imports as well. NHTSA opened a second investigation on Takata seatbelts broadly, EA 94-036, as well as individual investigations on the vehicle manufacturers using Takata seatbelts to determine the magnitude of the defect. This second investigation was only limited to the front seatbelt buckles, and in particular Takata's 52X and A7X models. This determined that a total of 11 manufacturers were affected by the investigation. Japanese models sold in the United States by American Honda Motor Company, Isuzu Motors of America, Mazda Motors of America, Inc., Nissan North America, Daihatsu Motor Corporation of America, Mitsubishi Motor Sales of America, and Subaru of America also had affected seatbelt buckles. Moreover, Chrysler, General Motors, and Ford all had various models manufactured by Japanese companies with the seatbelt buckles concerned, but sold under American names such as the Dodge Stealth and Geo series, except for the Prism under General Motors. Takata steering wheel and Mercedes-Benz E-Class Ford vehicles had such as the Probe manufactured by Mazda on its MX-6 platform and the Festiva made by Kia in South Korea, but engineered by Mazda that also had the seatbelts. However, unlike Chrysler and General Motors, Ford did not admit that their seatbelts could be defective. Initially, some Japanese manufacturers suspected that seatbelt failures were a result of user abuse rather than design failure. However, the 9-month investigation by the NHTSA concluded that the cause of the defect was that the buckles were made of ABS plastic. Through exposure to ultraviolet light over a period of time, the plastic became brittle and pieces fell off, causing a jamming of the release button mechanism. The manufacturers involved agreed to a voluntary recall, though this did not go smoothly. Only 18% of the 8.9 million cars and trucks with Takata belt buckles were repaired 2 years after the recall had begun. In addition, NHTSA assessed a $50,000 civil penalty against both Honda and Takata for failing to notify the agency about the seatbelt defect in a timely manner. Honda was fined because NHTSA believed the company knew about the hazard at least 5 years before the recall, but never reported the problem to them. So, it seems that Takata may have known, but so did the manufacturers. But let's go to the more recent one. Takata began making airbags in 1988, and as of 2014 held 20% of the market. During 2013, several automakers began a large recall of vehicles due to Takata-made airbags. Reports state that the problems may have begun a decade before with the faulty airbags placed in some Honda models starting in 1998. Honda stated that they knew of more than 100 injuries and 13 deaths, 7 in the United States plus 6 in Malaysia that were related to Takata airbags. In April and May 2013, a total of 3.6 million cars were recalled due to defective Takata airbags. All of those airbags were made at or otherwise used inflator units manufactured by Takata's Monclova plant in Coahuila, Mexico, operated by Takata's North American Mexican subsidiary, TK Holdings. In November 2014, BMW announced they would move any orders from the Mexican plant to a Takata plant in Germany. In June 2014, Takata admitted their Mexican subsidiary had mishandled the manufacture of explosive propellants and improperly stored chemicals used in airbags. Identifying vehicles with defective airbags was made more difficult by the failure of TK Holdings Inc. to keep a proper quality control record. That prompted another round of recalls in June 2013. In their statement, the company said, "We take this situation seriously. We will strengthen our quality control and make a concerted effort to prevent a reoccurrence." On June 23, 2014, auto manufacturers BMW, Chrysler, Ford, Honda, Mazda, Nissan, and Toyota announced they were recalling over 3 million vehicles worldwide due to Takata Corporation-made airbags. The reason was that they could rupture and send debris flying inside the vehicle. This response to a U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation that was initiated after NHTSA received 3 injury complaints. In a statement on June 23, 2014, Takata said they thought excessive moisture was the cause of the defect. Haru Otani, an official at the vehicle recall section of the Japanese Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transportation, and Tourism, said that moisture and humidity could be seeping inside inflators, destabilizing the volatile propellant inside. So, what is the cause of these issues? A model of airbags made by Takata Corporation, they used an ammonium nitrate-based gas, generating compositions in the airbag inflators instead of the more stable but more expensive compound tetrazole. The ammonium nitrate-based inflators have a flaw where old inflators with long-term exposure to hot and humid climate conditions could rupture during deployment, projecting metal shards through the airbag and into the driver. But is this 100% the cause? Well, I don't necessarily believe so. See, there's these things on steering wheels that are called steering wheel emblems. And on July 19th, 2021, Mazda issued this recall of their vehicles. The plastic logo affixed to the steering wheel can become brittle over time and may project fragments into the vehicle interior during an airbag deployment. The fixes, the dealership will replace the steering wheel airbag cover with a new one for free. There is no change needed to the airbag itself. Some steering wheel emblems are held in place with plastic tabs that can become brittle under high heat and humidity, which the interiors of cars can achieve easily, and they too could be part of the problem. So, was there a bigger problem and just Takata was left holding the bag? Well, of course, there are always some exceptions. If airbags like you see on the screen blow, it's probably not Takata's fault. It is also quite important to understand that, an airbag is an explosive. It uses an explosive charge to inflate the airbag very rapidly. And thus, anything that is attached to that explosive charge could become dislodged and become a projectile. But what happened to Takata? On June 25th, 2017, Takata filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States and filed for bankruptcy protection in Japan, owing more in compensation than is possible for its survival. The surviving assets are to be sold to its largest competitor, Chinese-owned and U.S. Michigan-based Key Safety Systems, for about $1.6 billion. On April 11th, 2018, following the completion of the Key Safety Systems acquisition of Takata, the company announced that the company would be renamed to Joyson Safety Systems and continue to operate in Michigan as Key Safety Systems. So, there's a look into the Takata recalls and to understand what was happening in them. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you and have a great day. So, there's a look at how the Takata Corporation operated and the potential issues that happened. So, if you're interested in learning more about any topic or any sort of recalls, don't hesitate to check out down below. Thank you and have a great day.